Good morning, Africa. Welcome to today's edition, a special session of the African Youth Conference 2020 that is going on here in Africa. A conference organized for the purpose of bringing the young people of Africa together and hearing their voices on the leadership question in the continent. The theme of the conference this year is the African leadership question, problems and prospects. We are pleased to have in our studios many young Africans who have come forward in the course of days of this conference to speak their mind and speak truth to authority. We are excited with the kind of information we are getting, with the opportunity that is evolving, and the chance that we have to midwife a new Africa. The African Renaissance is something that must happen. If it does not, we might be losing the continent. We are grateful for all those who have already joined us viewing, as we can see in the counter. We invite you to participate in this conference through your questions, your comments, your likes, your love for this conference proceeding. And as you do that, you will be boosting the opportunity for this conference, the voice of the young people of Africa, to get around Africa and touch our hearts and begin the process we are all expecting, which is the renaissance of the continent. When this Africa, the richest continent in the whole world, will be able to take its place in the course of things. In today's proceeding, we already have three great Africans, young Africans in the studio to speak to us in order of the appearance and in order of the speaking. We have Joan Nalugwenwa from Uganda, Takora Saddam from Ghana, and Buchocho Gaduski uh, Temfe from Cameroon. We want you to participate. We are seeing more people appearing on the chat bar. We want you to participate. Show your love, show your like for this conference. Make a comment, ask a question, which these great speakers, after they speak to us, we have time to address. It will now be my privilege and honor and deep happiness to invite our first speaker today to this podium, who is Joan Nalugwenwa from Uganda. Joan, welcome to the program and to the conference.
Yeah, thank you for this opportunity. To
Okay.
start with, I'll focus mainly on the goals of the conference that were tasked me to handle. However, the first goal was about what leadership is. Personally, according to what I understand, leadership has a variety of definitions. I can't really exhaust them today, but I'll just give a brief of what I think leadership is. First of all, leadership is the act of leading some people. It can be a group, it can be an organization so that you achieve a certain goal. Leadership is both research area and a practical skill, encompassing on the ability of an individual, group, or organization to lead, influence, or guide other individuals or teams to achieve a specific goal. Basically, that's what I can give for now about leadership, but it has a variety of definitions which can never be exhausted. That is the few I can say about leadership for now. I remember the second goal was about stating the state of leadership in Africa, focusing mainly on Uganda as my country. Leadership in Uganda is a Uganda is a presidential republic in which the president of Uganda is both the head of state and the head of the government. In Uganda, we have multi-party systems. Executive power is exercised in the government of Uganda. Legislative power is given to both the government and the National Assembly, and the system is based on a democratic parliamentary system with equal rights for all the citizens above 18 years of age. Whoever makes that age is eligible to voting. That's how our leadership is. I'm focusing mainly on Uganda because that's what I was tasked to do. But there are other different leadership states in other countries. The next question was about problems of leadership in Uganda. I don't know if what I'm discussing is on track or I perceived the questions in a wrong way, but that's what I tried to gather about what I was tasked to do. Among the problems, the leadership problems we have in Uganda or Africa's in general, we have challenges as dependency. Like most of the African countries, Uganda particularly, we claim to be independent, yet in actual sense, it's not the case. A lot of corruption is existing, particularly in Uganda and throughout other African countries, which has really greatly hindered the development of the countries. We have underdeveloped infrastructures and production sectors, mainly because of the corrupt system, which can't really enable anything to be put in place for the citizens to have a better place to live. Leadership itself is a very big challenge, which is hindering democracy and all the governance that would be taking place. Basically, there are very many challenges in leadership, but I can't really exhaust everything. I just got hint points. Another question that I was tasked to do was about which solutions. Yes, the question was, do you have leadership problems in Africa or Uganda? Yes, we do. And I've just discussed the challenges. So, what are the way forwards? Which solutions do we put in place to overcome the leadership problems? Because, yes, we are really sure they exist and we can't run away from that fact that we have leadership problems. But nevertheless, however much they exist, we have the potential to curb them. And these are one of the solutions I came up with. My first solution for Africa and other countries, first of all, our leadership problems can be solved. It is very possible. How? The fact that we know very many African countries are facing the same challenges. So this can be a learning experience for us to overcome. How? This means learning from other countries that have addressed the similar problems at the global level, drawing from the experience of others and adapting to define conceptually and adapt to the solutions. The fact that we've all faced the same solutions, same problems at a given time, we can use this as a learning experience. For example, if Nigeria once faced the same solution that Uganda is facing apparently, we can draw from that experience and overcome the challenge that we are facing at hand. We can overcome leadership challenges through having good and ready leadership in Africa, and we enable participants during training sessions to learn more about both the history and contemporary African leaders, taking a dose look at their style, their fundamental principles, as well as strategies and tactics they deployed. Because in Africa, after that, we have very many leaders, but each leader has their own good and bad side. So we can draw from the good they did, we can use their tactics they deployed to overcome a certain challenge. Secondly, in African leadership training, we can insist to have absolute necessity of evidence-based analysis of developing a vision, objective, understanding the situation. It also means identifying both micro and macro trends within countries, regions, or continents and within specific sectors of focus. We can choose to focus on which areas are really affected more. We put our focus there to overcome such challenges. Fourthly, leaders are taught to participate as a principal as well as wide variety of methods and approaches to ensure participation within teams. Leaders are taught to use collective intelligence and diversity as a competitive advantage. Another approach can be focus on management and implementation of systems. It is not sufficient to develop a vision or strategy. Good leadership ensures that strategic and operational plans are developed. It can really help a lot. Then finally, emphasis on the fact that good leaders build other leaders and teams. Leadership is about building people, enabling them develop new skills, new abilities, self-confidence, decision-making capabilities, ability to motivate and discipline others, themselves and others, ability to gather and analyze information to develop sustainable solutions in increasingly complex and challenging environments. Through having such leaders, I think we can overcome the challenges we have in leadership as Uganda or as Africa in general. That's what I can present for now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. This is very, very critical. Your voice is very important, and we are glad to have it in this great conference and discussion that we are having on the way forward for Africa. I have a few questions for you, but those questions will come after we have this little 1 minute commercial break so that we can get a message from our sponsors on this matter. So
Hello,
stay
everyone.
tuned.
We would like to
Okay,
introduce you to Graceworth Nigeria Limited. Graceworth Nigeria Limited is a Nigerian-owned and operated company using seasoned and accomplished professionals to execute complex security missions in conjunction with the host government to mitigate risk on behalf of our clients. Our team members have decades of experience in the security sector, bringing a wealth of knowledge and experience that not all security companies are able to offer. The success of the company is based on our unrivaled ability to build and maintain successful partnerships with our customers to provide professional and reliable security services. We pride ourselves on providing highly trained personnel experienced in dealing with the most complex of security issues. Since our formation, we have gained a reputation as a highly experienced company with a young, energetic and forward-thinking management team, offering the highest level of professionalism. We offer the following services. 1. Security awareness and training. 2. Program support and consultancy. 3. Risk assessment and investigations. 4. Executive protection and travel management. You can contact us on +234 807 227 2799 or 0702 525 4858, or visit our office at 14 Buchanan Crescent, off Amanucano Crescent, West 2, Abuja, Nigeria. We would be glad to have you. Graceworth. Leave your worries with us.
Thank you very much. And Joanne, thank you once again for your presentation. And I appreciate every effort and sacrifice you've made to be at this conference. Um, I have these thoughts to share
Well,
with you on what you have just said. You talked about collective intelligence, bringing it to
mm,
bear to the solution of the problems we have in African leadership. Uh,
yeah,
Let me think. When you say collective intelligence, you are talking in terms of ideas from different people, different
mm,
regions, different demographics, let's say old, young, and women, men. Those are the demographics. And then maybe religion, culture, tribes, and so
yeah,
on coming together to have a voice on the issues we see as problems. Now, talking
yeah.
specifically about the rising generation, how are there additional suggestions you can make to the rising generation how their voice can be included in the solution to the leadership problem in Africa?
Yeah, basically about the rising generation, I would encourage them. Okay, like if I'm choosing Uganda as a specific example, the rising generation is a bit hindered to participate in this because apparently the leadership in Uganda you have to invest a lot to get into it, but they can still participate at village level, sub county level, starting from the bottom line, keeping groups, and mobilize themselves so that their voices can be heard at the top level. The fact that it's a bit hard for the youth to get at the top level due to the financial constraints that is driving politics and leadership of the country. But at the village level, sub county level, at the bottom line of the leadership, they can participate there and then have collective voices that can be heard at the top leadership.
I think you have made a point that I consider very powerful here. Um, the political system in Africa is queued up in such a way that it costs so much money, and the young people
Yep,
don't have this money. They don't have it.
exactly.
Now, what can they do? And the great suggestion you made, I'm excited about, is they can begin from their local levels.
Yeah,
Actually, that is the right thing to do, because politics, you have to build uh, building blocks and build bridges, and the best place to start
yeah,
is from your local community. When you are in the school, you get involved in student union government and its politics. Contest elections, don't mind about failing, but contesting gives you experience. And then at your
yeah,
village level, you try to become a person of relevance. One of our speakers to this conference, Kelechi Ochola, he said he had just looked at the gamut of the challenges of the problems of leadership in Africa. And the idea he has is that people shouldn't wait to start leading the country or a state or a region. They should begin to
mm,
lead themselves, then begin to contribute to the community. And before long, because of their contribution, people will now say, "This is the man who can do this for us." So, I mean, that is a great clarification you have made there. How the rising generation, the youth of Africa, can take advantage of collective intelligence in doing these things. Thank you. That is very helpful. Okay.
yeah.
The next question I want to ask you is, in Uganda, do you see any youth, the youth of Uganda? And when we say youth politically in Africa, we are talking about people from the age of 12 to
Yes,
45. That is
yeah,
youth in African politics. Actually,
mm,
biologically, youth is people from 12 to 17, and young
mm,
adults are people from 18 to 30. But in Africa, politically, youth is people from the age of
12,
12 to 45.
45.
Now, are there any special thing people of this demographic group in Uganda are doing concerning improving leadership in Uganda, or changing the current leadership in Uganda?
Yeah, apparently, if I'm to use a specific example, we have districts, as I already explained in Uganda, we have districts, sub counties, and such. At least you realize the coming up of these youths, the aspiring president, and then one of the members of parliament in Mintiana district, it has greatly influenced the youth of the past. Mintiana as a district wasn't so vibrant politically, but then the coming of that MP, you can make research. He's called Francis Zake. He has really made great impact in the politics of Mityana as a district and Uganda in general. He's really influencing the youth to come into politics, and you can compare of the recent past, and apparently youths are really trying their best to get into politics. However much it is financially constrained, but they are trying all odds to see themselves vibrant in the society. Apparently, Mityana is one of the districts that politics is highly booming, and the result of that is because of the incumbent member of parliament, Honorable Francis K. And there are other districts where leadership among the youth is really becoming vibrant because of the leaders that have just had in the last term of parliament. Thank you. Hope I've answered your
Okay,
question.
yeah, that is a great response, and it is heartwarming to know that at least the rising generations in Uganda are doing something. And the problem is we have not started to do anything long ago, but even as we start now, we can continue
Yeah,
to gradually. build up, beginning from one district, one state, one region, depending on what the geographical coloration of that country is. That is very helpful. Now, uh, the other question that I want to put to you is, when you look at in Nigeria, we have a struggle of getting women to be participate in politics as much as men. And because of that, there have been some laws and some movements directed clearly to increasing the capacity of women to take part in politics. Are
Yeah.
there women who are actively involved in politics in trying to help things make changes in Uganda?
Yeah, apparently there is some change. Personally, I can be a very good example. Reasons why women don't really participate in politics, I think it is due to lack of confidence and some other factors, but confidence and low self-esteem is one of the major factors. But in Uganda, there are some organizations which are really coming up to mentor the women in particular to become leaders. Personally, I was a very so down to a person who was, I didn't have any esteem in me. I wasn't confident at all. As this kind of a person, I couldn't even move on the school campus because of the low esteem I had. But fortunately, or luckily enough, the school where I was, the one of the principals was so much into leadership and had much interest to empower the youth. So there is some organization. It is called MEMPRO, Mentoring and Empowerment Program for the Young Women. They came at school, they empowered us, they talked to us, they make sure you have that change in you. Like I was really transformed. Since then, I try my best to engage into leadership. After that training, I contested as a head girl at school. No one really expected I could because of my past as this kind of a person who couldn't even move at the school campus. I couldn't do anything because of the
Oh,
loss of esteem. I went to university. Still, I went through the same mentorship. There are several organizations which are really coming up to mentor the women. I participated in politics as well. I became a leader as the vice president as the women affairs, and because of the leadership positions I held, it's the reason as to why I can survive now. It's through the connections I made during campus that really earned me the job where I am. And there are very many women who are really trying to come up to mentor the young girls, like the likes of Dr. Stella Nyans. They say, as a girl child, you can do something. There are very many members of parliament who are trying to bring up programs to empower the girl child or to empower the women to engage into politics. And if you compare, at least you can see some change. Apparently, where I put up my region as a division, we are having a women member of parliament contesting against over 10 men. So that it shows how much women are getting empowered and how much they are really getting involved in leadership and politics at large. Thank you.
oh, that is great. And you coming here today, and I'm sure it is because of all the mentoring and the preparation that those organizations gave you. I would like to ask God to bless those organizations and give them more power to get out there and do more for women and, in fact, the rising generations of Africa generally, because the hope we have in Africa is dependent on women having access to power, because they do more better than men in these positions, and then young people also having access to power, because this continent is their future, and they are the ones who have a lot of years ahead of them in the future. Okay, all right. The, Giving your experiences so far, the transformation that you have received, um, are there things you are thinking or planning to do to help increase the opportunity to help the race of Africa, especially the rising generation and women, to be transformed like you? What are your future plans relating to politics, leadership, and service?
Apparently, what I'm doing, me as John, I try my best. Like as I told you during my stay at the university, the fact that I knew my history, I knew where I'd come from, I knew how much being shy and being with low self esteem had costed me. So I would strive as much as I could to see that these girls going through the same situation receive the same training I did so that they can become something at the end. During my stay at campus, I made sure at least every semester I could write to this organization to come and meet other girls at my college, and they always have monthly trainings. If I have women around me or girl child around me, I always try my best to drag these people into this organization. I try to talk to them what I was talked, what I was told, like more especially about the loss of esteem and how much it can cost them. I remember my mentor, she's called Dr. Tadia. She used to tell me, Joe, and shyness is talking, where. So like every time I see a fellow girl going through the same situation, I try to talk to them. I'm like, shyness is not taking you anywhere. Rise up, girl child. You can do this. You can do this. Because I know what it can cost someone being with loss of esteem and not being in leadership. And I know the good I've really got from leadership. Personally, I attach whatever I have now to leadership. Because if it wasn't through the job system in Uganda is too tight. But I was only lucky to get a job before even I did my last paper because of leadership. I was too much into leadership. I got connections. I got friends. So I really see a lot of good things in leadership. That's why I try to encourage my fellow girls, my fellow women, my fellow girl child to be part of the leadership process. Thank you.
Wow, that is very awesome. And the way you mentioned the collective intelligence as part of what can help us in solving the leadership problem in Africa. And I think collective intelligence has so much to do with your linkages, your connections, your the people you do business with, and how much you relate to them to the extent that they have your back. And I think
Yeah,
this is what the rest of the rising generations of Africa should be doing wherever they are, to find a way
yeah,
to connect more. I keep quoting Kelechi Ochula, who spoke to us a few days ago. He said during this conference that, well, what everybody should do is to look out for they say you are an average of 5 people you hang out with. So because of that, he said he decided to look for the best 5 people
mm,
that he wants to be like, look at those and then go hang out with them, connect with them. So that kind of, yeah, helps him to be able to um he helps him to be able to get the kind of people he needs. So just like in your case, being able to connect with this group was able to help you even in the job you're doing, and that has encouraged you to do more. I think that is a lot, and it is so beautiful. So now, at this point, we'd like you to share your final words at this conference. Can you give us your final words at this conference?
that's not
Any
clear to me.
thoughts?
Yes.
Any thoughts?
Hello.
Anything? Final
Any
words?
thoughts?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, I'm really grateful for this conference. It's really an eye opener to ask the youth the questions that it really gives us an insight to draw deeper. As I was making my research, I had to prepare for this.
Okay.
But in the process of making research, actually, I got to discover a lot more. I discovered a lot. I got to know about a lot of things I had no idea about in the process of making research. Though some were not related to what I presented today, but at least it helped me draw insights into very different things. Yeah. So, in a nutshell, I can conclude it was really a great opportunity granted. It has helped me learn more and discover new things. Thank you.
Okay, that is great, and we have enjoyed the opportunity to have you at this conference, have you share your thoughts. We want you to stay close to the conference, because at the end of the sessions on 30th, we'll call a special session, a special meeting, where all those who spoke to us will come together and then prepare what we want to get out and do after the conference. we will harness that together in a form of communique. So please stay close. Invite your friends to view the conference, to like it, to love it, to make comments, to ask questions, and then
Mm.
continue to participate in it. Thank you very much, Joanne. It has been a pleasure for me to host you at this conference. And thank you for adding me in your connection. And I'm also glad to have you in my connection. Is that okay?
Yeah, I'm glad too, and the pleasure is all mine. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you. Have a great day now.
Okay, please, great day too. Thank you.
Okay. Bye bye.
Okay, bye bye. Bye bye.
Okay, viewers, thank you. We have just had this scintillating and stimulating time with Joanne Nalugwenwa from Uganda, who has been shared very wise thoughts with us. Viewers, we still see many of you on this chat bar. We're excited that in spite of this being a special session, we have had several people appear to view it. And many of you are here. We have received a lot of likes and love. We want more. We want you to love and like this conference. We want you to view it. We want you to comment. We want you to ask questions. The people who are going to speak to us today are powerful young people who know what they are talking about. We want you to be with them through your comments and your questions. Okay. The next person we will invite to speak to us is Takora Saddam from Ghana. Takora Sada will take the stage in a few minutes. Before he comes up, I would like us to share some thoughts about this conference. The organizers of this conference has at the background what made them get it done. We want to hear from the organizer
Hello everyone.
why the
You are all
conference.
welcome to the Africa Youth Conference. We would be discussing about the African leadership question, problems and prospects.
Can we hear the statement of the problem?
The African continent and the African people are currently in the deepest part of a quagmire from the effects of colonialism, continual exploitation, intentional degradation, corruption, ineptitude, nepotism and a blinding brainless ruling class. As a young man myself, I am 64 years of age now. People who promised my generation, the youth back then, that we are the leaders of tomorrow are still ruling in Africa and producing nothing but ruination for the greatest continent made by God on this earth.
The rising generation/youth of Africa, having been beguiled by the text of being the leaders of tomorrow, never learned that tomorrow never comes.
The dominant feeling is that we do not have leaders in Africa. The kindest ways to refer to those who are sitting over the fortunes of Africa are as rulers. Personally, I see those in power in Africa at present, with the exception of Mr. Paul Kagame of Rwanda, as agents of ruin bent on destroying the continent, with the connivance of foreign business and political interests, through the suppression of the youth and all voices of dissent.
From Uganda to Cote d'Ivoire, to Nigeria to Cameroon, with Nigeria being the worst case scenario, we have deadwoods and old men in their 80s and 90s ruling as presidents and senators. Some of these people started ruling from the age of 28 years of age and are now in their 90s and still ruining the continent.
Being totally disconnected to the needs of the future of the continent, represented by the young people of Africa, they have ensured that the educational system is either faulty or does not work at all, with universities opening for only a quarter of the time they are supposed to be open each year.
African rulers, like witches, are happy to kill their young ones. In Nigeria, the Nigeria police force and the military delight in unlawful and extrajudicial killing of their young ones, under guises that does not in any way warrant the use of water cannon for dispersing the people. The #EndSARS protest in Nigeria was murderously quelled by live bullets, reportedly killing over 70 youths.
Our program?
We, at the African Town Hall Online Television, believe that the problem of Africa is leadership. In line with our main objective of helping the rising generations of Africa to speak out, and let their voice be heard, with a view to changing the current detrimental narrative, we have created the African Leadership Question, Problems and Prospects.
Wonderful. This program, the African Leadership Question, Problems and Prospects, is set up to bring the rising generations together to seek to understand the problem of leadership in Africa and to consider the prospects for the desired change. With us in the studio to discuss this topic are rising generations persons from all over Africa. In this month, December 2020, We would assemble every Wednesday first at 11 a.m. in the morning and then at 9 p.m. Nigerian time to discuss this issue. It is hoped that before the end of December 2020, more than 100 African youth have been able to share their opinion on this matter. At the end we would articulate a communique that would be read on the last day of our meeting. We invite all African youth to come and participate both from our studios and from comments on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter to provide direction for the African youth both in the continent and in the diaspora, a way forward for the renaissance of the African continent.
So, join us. And stay tuned, and keep participating.
Thank you. We are glad to be back. We were expecting that Takora from Ghana would be speaking to us, but it seems either his internet or something has knocked him off this thing. We have Buchocho Gadoske Timfe from Cameroon in the studios. Comrade Timfe, can you come up? Hello, Comrade Timfe. Comrade Timfe. Okay, while waiting for either Takora or Comrade Timfe to make the appearance in the studios, we will take a message from Professor Wele Soyinka on some of the things that young people should be doing to help them in the cause of.
So they must first of all distance themselves and ask themselves what kind of society do they really want, ideally. And they must understand that in order to replace a leadership that has failed, no matter where, they must use different methods. They must learn to approach the community on their own basis, not simply by spraying money all over the place because they don't have it. They must use the technology such as social media instead of abusing it, which many of them do. They wake up in the morning and all they do is try to be the first to comment. And their comment is vapid, unserious, normally usually abusive, instead of arguments, instead of analysis, instead of a cogent approach to social problems. And you wonder, what kind of generation is this that cannot understand the magnificence of this technology?
Okay, Takora Saddam from Ghana, good morning and welcome to the conference. Hello, Takora, can you hear me? Takora, welcome to the conference. Are you there? Can you hear me?
Yes, please. I can hear you.
Okay, great.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. And your sound is loud and clear. Okay, thank you very much. You have the floor.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. My name is Takura Saddam from Ghana, a final year medical student. And I joined this conference with great anticipation to enjoy my time here and share ideas with colleague young ones. Leadership in Africa. This is something I have a personal interest in. You may as well say I have an ulterior motive when it comes to leadership in Africa. In my view, leadership as a model refers to being given the privilege to serve from a position of command. So leadership, in my view, is a privilege for you to serve. And the difference is that you would be serving from a position of command. And when I say a position of command, it simply means that you are offered the liberty to take people from one point to another. So you are supposed to be the driver of change when it comes to leadership in an organization. So when you are elected or appointed as a leader, it simply means that the people you would be leading are giving you that privilege to take them to a goal from the position of leadership. That is what my view of leadership is. And one thing we have to understand is that leadership is an action. Leadership is about acting and not just occupying a position or bearing a name. Leadership is about action. So when you are given the privilege to lead, it means you have to act. And when you have to act in the interest of the group you are leading and not your personal interest. So to be a great leader, you would have to sacrifice your personal interest sometimes for the interest of the group you are leading. So leadership is an action and not just a mere position. Also, we would have to understand that in every aspect of our lives, we require leadership to be successful in whatever we do. So in our personal lives, we have to lead ourselves. So you waking up early every morning to read a few books before you go for class, before you go to work, is an act of leadership. You going to work and doing the right thing, staying at work till it's time to close, sticking to your work and not reading things that are out of the workplace or watching videos on YouTube and stuff like that, that is leadership. So in every aspect of our lives, we require leadership. In religious groups, we require leadership. That's why we have pastors, we have imams. If you go to the local level, we have leadership. That's why we have community chiefs and paramount chiefs. So in every aspect of our lives, we require leadership for success to be achieved. But our greatest problem in Africa or as a continent basically is political leadership. You don't need a soothsayer to tell you that Africa is 1,000 years behind time simply because our political leaders have failed us. But I always want to look at problems in totality and not just single out a single unit of the community to put the blame to. When we talk of the challenges in the African society with regards to leadership, it simply means that every African has failed, not just our political leaders. Because ask me, who becomes a political leader? It is the ordinary African who grows interest in politics, contests a position, or gains an appointment who becomes a political leader. And also, you look at the way our society works in Africa. The public service and the civil service are the organs of government that make leadership flow. For any business of government to be carried out, it goes through the public service or the civil service. So you ask yourself, the workers in these services, are they also political leaders? And most of the time, these are not political leaders. They are the ordinary person like you and I. So if there are challenges in our public sector, if there's corruption in our public sector, it simply means that our public servants and our civil servants have failed us with the help of the political leaders. Because in Africa, we practice democracy in most of our countries, or we claim to practice democracy in most of our countries. And when we talk of democracy, it means that when power is in the hands of somebody, it is given to them by the people. This is questionable, though, in our situation as Africans. But I would want to take the ideal situation. So in democracy, we give power to the people. So if the power we've given to people is not bringing about any change, and we are ceasing or refusing to change the people at the helm of affairs, it simply means that we have failed to develop Africa as a people. So now, when we talk of political leadership, as I said earlier, we have autocratic leadership, we have democratic leadership. In Africa, I would want to say that we have kind of a synergy of both. That's autocracy and democracy. So somebody uses democratic processes to gain power, and when they get to the helm of affairs, they become autocrats. So that's why we have a lot of tyrants in our sub-region. So basically, These are the challenges I think we face as a people when we talk of leadership. People who claim to be clean in conscience do not want to take up leadership positions. And those who take up leadership positions end up not doing what they promise the people. And when they get to the top, they try to fine tune laws and regulations to suit their selfish interests. Another great thing we have to look at is the personalities taking up position. When you look at our situation in Africa, when somebody is seeking a leadership position, the way they are modest, the way they ask for it is something that is very admirable. But when they get to the top, they become total different animals in totality. When I say animals, pardon my word, political animals, let me put it that way. These are people who act when they are in leadership for their own selfish interest. But when they need it, they tell you they want to act in the interest of the country or the organization they want to serve. But when they get there, they act in their own selfish interest. And sometimes it becomes difficult to even take them out of those positions because when they have a full grasp of leadership, they put in measures that will ensure continuity of their existence in those positions. And that is one of the biggest challenges we face as a people that we ought to look at and change. The other thing I would have to talk about is our current situation as to whether we can change it and move forward. Yes, of course, to every problem there are solutions, but the question is, are we ready to take the pain to solve the problems we are facing? Are we ready to be part of the solution? Those are the questions we should ask ourselves. I've met quite a number of youth. You tell them, oh, let's do politics because the status quo does not serve our interests. Let's get in there and make the change. And the person goes like, politics is too dirty for me. I cannot soil my hands by engaging in politics. So I ask myself, if the good people want to sit and watch and not wanting to soil their hands by doing politics, will our situation ever change? And the answer is a big no. If good people sit and watch, bad ideas from bad people will continue to spoil the fabric that builds the Africa we so dear want to have. So it is about time that the youth get involved. The basic solution is the personal conviction to get involved in politics. At every level, we have to get a lot of youth getting into politics, a lot of youth taking up leadership positions, a lot of youth with proper convictions, a lot of youth with a clear conscience taking up leadership positions. And when they get into these positions, they still have to act in the interest of the people. One thing we have to notice that when an opportunity is given you to serve in a position, it simply means that there's a responsibility on you to keep that door open so that other youth can also get in there to play their role for the collective development of whatever organization or country you find yourself in. So the number one solution is getting involved. We all have to get involved. Where the need is required, let's get there and speak. If there is a conference, let's go there and speak. If there is an open forum that is organized, let's get there and speak. If there's a meeting with a political leader in your locality, get there and speak your mind. Let them understand what the challenges are and that Africa requires a new dawn of leadership. And that is what we should all be pioneering. So let's get involved. Another thing is training the youth. I've seen a lot of leadership programs going around in almost all African countries. Today, you find this conference here. Tomorrow, you find this symposium, this colloquium, and all that. People are actually putting a lot of effort in training the youth of Africa. So, just like what we have today, this is an opportunity for us to share ideas, to network, and also to discuss the leadership challenges we have in Africa. There are similar others alike going on in Africa. I've seen a lot of civil society organizations. I've seen non-governmental organizations. A lot of training is going into the youth so that we can have a better Africa when we speak of leadership. But the problem I have is that when you go to our institutions, for instance, our tertiary institutions, can we say with no iota of doubt that Africa is going to have better leadership in the years to come. And I have a lot of, should I say, divided opinions when it comes to this question. And this is simply because when you go to our tertiary institutions, student organization leadership is so deeply involved in corruption. So we have student leaders who are involved in corruption. And these are the people we call the future of our African continent. And these are the people that are involved in corruption. So for instance, in my institution, we have what we call the Student Representative Council. We elect some students to take charge of the affairs of the students' body, and we give them some funds to run the organization. And what I've realized in our situation is that most of the time, when they take these monies, they use it for their personal interest. I've seen student leaders who come to plead for the position. You give them the position, they get there, and they act no different from the political leaders we have there. So for me personally, I think a lot of training is going in, but we seem not to be yielding any positive result. Because if you consider what is happening in our tertiary institutions, and these are the people that are just next in line when we talk of taking over the leadership of this country. Because from tertiary institutions, you go into the work environment. So if these people are corrupt, it means that there's a lot to worry about when it comes to the African continent. Because our student leaders themselves are not giving us anything better with respect to leadership. So basically, these are but a few of the things I can suggest with respect to solutions. So one, let's get involved, and two, the training programs or the training regimes we give our students, let's revive them and try to get some results out of it. Okay, so where do we go from here? Basically, I think we have prospects. We have prospects because African students, the young African is ready to change what is happening in the continent. Everybody is worried about the situation in the continent. So I think that just that conviction alone, just that self-belief that the African can turn around the destiny of Africa is something that is good to note. Because the moment we start having such personal convictions, the moment we start having such a unified reason of a common Africa, then we can say that we are likely to have a better Africa tomorrow. So I think there's a lot of prospects, we have a lot of opportunities, we have a lot of human resource we can tap into. And if we make good use of them, we can have a better Africa tomorrow. So for me personally, this is the short presentation I would want to give with respect to leadership in Africa and the way forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Takora. This is great. And you have made some comments that are very serious. And it is very exciting to know that your mind is working very powerfully in these relations, in what needs to be done. So I appreciate your presentation very much and your time here. Now, you mentioned that we need to be ready to take the pen to make the change we want in leadership.
Sure.
Can you be a little bit specific on that so that uh, because I don't know what our people are shying from, especially the young people, but if you can explain this pain so that people will know that these are necessary pain and these are paths we must tread. Sometimes there's something you want good, you want ahead of you, but you must tread some path before you get there. Those paths are not usually on third road or smooth. So can you explain some of those pain a little bit, and then share some encouraging words for the young people so they know they need to get involved with these things regardless?
No, okay. Thank you. I think this has always been the challenge. Everybody wants to see change, but nobody wants to be a part of it. And I always see that if there's a problem and you are not part of the solution, then you are definitely part of the problem. So if the African youths are not part of the solution, then we are part of the problem. Because what you see around you that you wish could change will not be changed by just anyone. It has to be changed by you. If you want to see change, be the change. So what I would want to suggest is that as a people or as African youth, you can start small. So even within your home, You can start to conscientize your parents. So you have parents who work in the public service. You have to keep reminding them that they have to stick to the ethics of service and not just for their selfish interest. So we can speak to our parents, we can speak to our society where we live. You have a neighbor who is in the public service, you can always advise them from time to time. The kids at home, try to conscientize them to understand that service leadership is about service. So the little things we do around us would give birth to the Africa we all wish for. So for us to change the mindsets of the people, we have to talk to the people and try to speak to their conscience and let them understand that we need a collective change in thinking for us to, should I say, give birth to the Africa we all want to see. So in our little ways, we can talk to people. If you're even shy of contesting for positions where you can enact change, you can take up appointments, or you can even attend programs that are organized by leaders and give your suggestions. We have Facebook, should I say social media. You can take to social media to educate people on some of these happenings. Because mind you, most of these silent youth are the most intelligent we can ever find on this continent, but just that they are shy to show off. Most of these people call themselves introverts. So they find it difficult relating with others. But writing something on social media does not really involve you seeing a lot of people or a lot of people watching you speak. So we can take to our social media handles to educate people. A lot of change can be made through social media. Trust me. I go to WhatsApp, I go to my statuses, I read a few things written by some very brilliant youth, and trust me, it changes a lot in my life. So we can take to social media to educate our followers on some of the happenings of on the African continent. So that is another way to go. And also, we have to understand that taking up leadership positions will come with challenges because working with people and around people is going to be difficult. The earlier we accepted this, the better. I cannot single-handedly sit here and tell you that it will be cozy if you decide to take up leadership. It will be cozy if you decide to get involved in leadership. No, it's going to be difficult. But it is better you know what the challenges are likely to be and you better prepare yourself for them. The challenges are that people will oppose you, but you have to understand that nothing good comes easy and keep on pushing. Ask yourself, even the prophets that brought us religion, where were they resisted the most? In their own home regions. And we have this common adage that a prophet is never accepted in his own country, or should I say his own backyard. And that is how it is. If you want to create change, you'll be making things uncomfortable for people around you. So they will definitely oppose you, but you have to understand that the end goal of a better Africa is more precious than serving the selfish egos of the people around you. So these three, I believe, if we all inculcate in our everyday dealings, should help us effect change from leadership positions as you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. That is very, very succinct. And I hope our young people are listening to this wise wisdom. This is pure wisdom coming out. And I want to ask a question that many people have asked in the process of this conference, which is, we see the problem, especially the one the young people have, and you've capped it in such a way that narrows it reasonably. People are introverts, they are shy, they have challenges to come and speak up. Is there anything either young people or a group of them in a small community can begin doing now, to begin that change that we are expecting in their mind first? Because I think they need to have a change in their mind first before they can
Yeah.
effect the change in the higher society. Any thoughts on that?
Okay. But I would want to use myself as an example. So when I enrolled in the university about 6, 7 years ago, that was back 2014. One thing I realized was that student leaders were corrupt. So I took to going for open forums, and I even went for General Assembly meetings to prefer my contributions as to how I want to see leaders act. But I realized that little was done with the contributions I gave. And I was somebody who was very scared of elections, but I took up the challenge to run for Student Representative Council President. which didn't end successfully. I lost by 6 votes. But in the process, I made sure that wherever I went to share a message, before I left, students understood a lot before I left them. So at the end of the day, I realized that even the winners would come to you to seek advice because they've realized that you really understand issues and you command a lot of respect when it comes to the people around you. So as a person, if you even have challenges meeting with other people or taking up leadership positions, or you have a challenge starting, what I would want you to understand is that first and foremost, you have to build that self belief that yes, there's a problem in Africa and it has to change. And you have to also understand that the more you delay, the bigger the problem becomes. So you have to get that personal conviction. And if you get this personal conviction, then you can ask yourself, so what step can I take to start changing the status quo? So if you are able to think in this direction, trust me, you would always find solutions. So for instance, if there's a problem in your society, it's with regards to sanitation. You realize that people do not adhere to proper sanitary practices in your society, and it's something that bothers you. So you can start a household talk. So every evening, you move to one household at a time, then you have an interaction with them, then you try to procure some of the solutions you think they can put in place to check improper disposal of waste. So you do that, you set goals for yourself. So every day I'm going to one household. That's a change you are making in a very subtle way. But at the end of the day, you would realize the bigger change that is after visiting all these households and everybody understands your message, then sanitation would be properly handled in your society. That is a way to start. Another way to go about this is my way. When I realized that I had a problem speaking to larger crowds, anytime something comes to mind, so probably I want to speak on honesty, I just get up after a lecture. So when the lecturer leaves, I just get up and stand in front of the class and tell them I have something small to share, just 3 minutes. And today I would be talking on honesty. Then I go on to talk about what honesty is and how honesty will help our lives. So before I could realize that, I became very comfortable standing in front of my class. So I decided to take it to the next class. So when first years come in, I go to them to talk to them about their grades and why they should stick to their studies, take their studies seriously. And before I could know it, I was standing in front of the whole school. Then delivering messages and people listen. So if you come to the University for Development Studies, UDS Tamale, Ghana, and you ask of Takura Saddam, everybody will tell you is that guy. He keeps talking to us. He keeps us on our toes. He's always here to prefer his ideas. That is how I started, just little. And today I'm making a big change in my society. That is my university. I even formed an association that is the Changemakers Family, specifically for student leadership, and I try to groom a lot of youth. And I'm happy to say that through my leadership grooming program, I've been able to produce an SRC president, I've produced an SRC secretary, and various departmental executives who have been life changers in whatever office they've occupied. So basically, you can start it. I did it, and if I did, you could. Thank you.
This is very wonderful, and every time we talk about many things, a number of people will criticize and say, hey, so is it all theory? But what you have done here is to show that it can be done by practical effort and work, and then you have results that are outstanding. As you said that, something that is the best part of my life, which is personal development, was touched off. um,
Wow.
Yes, and I intend to ask, what was the route? It seems you are very, very connected to personal development. What counsel do you want to give the rising generation of Africa on personal development? Any counsel? Do you get that? It seems Takara's this thing is stiff. Hello, can you hear me? Okay. Uh, Takora, this thing is stiffening up. Okay, so while we hope that his internet will return, he will be able to rejoin us. There's a question that has been asked here. Hopefully, he will be able to come back to deal with it. Meanwhile, let's prepare to be able to, if he's not able to restore his internet, then we'll be able to have Buchocho Gaduski Timfe from Cameroon. The Buchocho Gaduski Timfe is the president of African Youth Opinion, and we are glad to have him close by to join us in this conference. Let me know what is going on with Takora. Hello, Takora. Okay. In the meantime, hopefully Takora will join us back when his internet gets better. President Buchocho Gaduski Timfe, are you there? Can you set up your video so we can commence? Okay. I think Takora is back, which is great.
Yeah,
Takora, sorry. Yeah, I think there were issues with your this thing. Yeah.
connection.
Yes. Did you get my question? I was asking. I said that you touched off on one area of my life, which is personal development. Do you have some personal development counsel, additional counsel for the rising generation, which will help them prepare themselves for the life we are all expecting?
Yeah, sure. Personal development. Yeah, that's something that is. It sounds very simple, but it's difficult. Just I think 2 days ago, I was speaking with a brother. He had a challenge. He's reading a program. He understands nothing about it, and he knows nothing about the job prospects and stuff. So I was just giving him a thought. I was asking him, yes, we complain there are no jobs. When you leave the university, you suffer to get a job. But I ask him, are people not getting jobs? And what makes them special? There's this common notion that you must know somebody to get to where you want to get to. Protocol. That's how we call it in our country. You must have protocol to get a job. So I was telling him that no, not everybody requires protocol. With the right self-development, you make yourself stand out. So if you are reading a program, everybody else is reading the same program. You are all reading the same lecture notes. But what makes you different from the lot? That is what is going to be the life changer when it comes to the job market. So personal development is very, very relevant. And when I talk of personal development, it's not just about the certificates you amass. No, behind the certificates, there's a personality. And when that personality sits to talk, when that personality sits to work, do people see a difference? That's what defines you. So when we talk of personal development, it goes beyond just amassing certificates. I've participated in this, I've participated in that. No, you've participated in this and that. What change did they make in your life? That is what we call personal development. Why did you take part in that conference? What were you looking for? And at the end of the conference, what did you get? Or what did you add to your life after that conference? So, for instance, after today, I expect to know how to network with other youth from other African countries to make a change. That is what I'm looking forward to. Getting to know the views of people from other countries with regards to leadership to add to my own perceptions about leadership for tomorrow. That is what my main objective of joining this conference. And I'm getting to learn that. So when we talk of personal development, it goes on and on and on. It doesn't just come a single day. You have to build it over time. And for you to build it over time, you must be ready to sacrifice certain things in your life to be able to build it. So for instance, if you want to be a good reader, it means that you would have to sacrifice some time to read. You have to make time to read. So for instance, I watch football 2 hours a day, and now I want to be a good reader. So I read 1 hour, watch football 1 hour. That is personal development. If you want to be somebody that is always punctual, for programs. If you used to wake up an hour to a program and you realize that with an hour to the program you run late, it means that I would have to wake up 2 hours to a program to prepare for the program. That is personal development towards punctuality. If you would want to be able to stand in front of a large crowd and speak, you would have to start with a smaller crowd. When you become comfortable, you increase the numbers in the crowds. So you would have to start from somewhere small to get to somewhere bigger. And also with academics, you would have to read even more. If you want to be a better person in the field of study, it means that you have to be a game changer. And when we talk of being a game changer, it simply means that you go beyond the curriculum. You go beyond what everybody learns within the program. You go beyond the normal. And that is the only way you can bring creativity to birth. So when we talk of personal development, it's simply hard work. It's simply smart work. It is simply sacrifice. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And lastly, there's this comment and question from Vandi Betua. Vandi Betua is from Sierra Leone, and he says, this matter is of urgency. I'm sure he's relating that to what you said in one of the questions you responded to. But we, the youth, are becoming slow by our own thinking of tomorrow. What capacity do you suggest we as youths need to be arise? I'm sure that means it should mean to rise up. So what kind of capacity should the youth of today be working on in themselves to be able to be who they want to be and to be able to get up?
Okay. When it comes to capacity, that's what Mr. Francis just
Since Vandy's internet is hooking up again,
society.
and
so basically, I think the first step we should take is personal development. The second thing we should understand is that we need sacrifice. The other thing we should know is that we have to get involved. So as youth, let's not just sit and watch. If you realize most of the political leaders in Africa are well over their 60s or into their 70s and some even 80s and 90s. And these are the people making decisions for the leaders of tomorrow. So sometimes I ask myself, if the youth are not involved in the decision-making process, so who then decides for the youth? Because if we are not involved and the future is ours, why would we sit and watch people that are likely not to be in the near future make a future for us? That's the question we have to all answer. So we need to get involved. In my country, for instance, I've seen a lot of young people becoming parliamentarians. And when I say parliamentarian, it means representatives of a section of people. Young people are now taking up such positions to go to parliament and offer solutions to the challenges we face as a country. So that is a good step. We have to get involved. We can't just sit and say we want change. No, we need to get involved. And to get involved, we must get involved in the right convictions. As I said, if we get involved and we also have the same mindsets as the status quo, nothing will change. If we want to change our situation as Africans, first and foremost, our personal convictions have to be clear. We must have a clear conscience when we are taking up leadership positions. If we want to change the status quo, we have to do things differently. So if we are doing things differently, it means that we must come into leadership with different mindsets. We must come into leadership with a mindset to serve. We must come into leadership understanding that the poverty in our houses will not leave us simply because we are in leadership positions and we have to amass wealth. No. If you are into leadership as a youth, it means that it is an opportunity for you to make better or to live a better society for those that will come after you. So I said earlier, if you get the opportunity to lead, it is just an opportunity for you to hold on to the door for many more to walk into that opportunity. So as a youth, I think basically we need to understand that when an opportunity is given us, it is just a test of our capabilities. And when you are given the test, you have to pass the test so that other youths can also be given the test with you as an example. So let's keep doors of opportunities open to other youths. by getting involved and keeping the doors open. Get a clear conscience and be personally involved. Thank you.
Thank you very much. This has been very awesome and powerful. I'm so happy that you made it to this conference and is able to address the Africa, especially the
Thank
rising generation.
you. Thank you too for inviting me.
Yes. So stay close because after the last session on the 30th of December, we'll have a special session for all the speakers when we will articulate all the voices we have heard into actionable items and elements. It's been a pleasure to have you here, Mr. Sadam. Thank you. And you have a great time now. Okay, Africa, thank you very much for viewing. We have seen many of you come to this conference today. We have seen many of your love and likes on the screen. And this has made us feel good that the time we have spent discussing these matters have been very reasonable. You have heard, you have learned. Let's take these lessons down and let's take action about them. In due course, the African Town Hall will organize all that is coming out from this conference, and it will be a position paper for future actions of the people of Africa, especially the rising generations of Africa. Remember, we have been on the African Youth Conference 2020 on the theme the African leadership question, problems and prospects. And this has been the uh, Thursday, 24th December morning special session that had just been organized to capture more of the voices of the rising generation. Thank you for being with us. Remember, we have two more official sessions remaining on the 30th of December. The first one will happen at 11 a.m. Nigerian time. We need many African speakers, young people to come forward to speak. And the people we are looking for this conference are Africans from the age of 12 to 45 years of age, who are both biologically and politically the youth. Demographically, this is the largest number of the African population, 60% are here. And as Mr. Takora has said, if we stay outside and allow someone else to make decisions for us in the future that belongs to us, then we are bound to have problems and struggles. So we invite you to be at this conference, view it, make comments, ask questions, like it, love it. The recorded version of this conference will be on YouTube in a few minutes, and we want you to also check our YouTube channel, the African Town Hall, subscribe to it, and then view all of the conference proceedings are on YouTube. They're also on Facebook, on my profile, Francis Imeribe, on the African Town Hall page, and Dating and Marriage Question and Answers group on Facebook, all of which you can access, download, view, comment, ask questions. We will get back to you regardless of when and where you ask those questions. In due course, watch parties of these proceedings will also be on air, and we invite you to participate in them and invite your friends and connections to view so that all of us can learn together what we must do to cause the renaissance of the African continent. What if it doesn't happen? We will be at the throes of losing the continent. You are welcome, and thank you for being with us today.